It's time for MacBreak Weekly. Alex and Andy are here with our review of iOS 4.2.1 for the iPad, its pros and its cons. Coming up next on MacBreak Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for MacBreak Weekly is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 222, recorded November 23rd, 2010. Enjoy the Tauntaun. MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by GoToMeeting, the affordable way to meet with clients and colleagues. For your free 30-day trial, visit GoToMeeting.com/MacBreak. And by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to Audible.com/MacBreak. And by Carbonite.com. Backing up files on your PC or Mac is safe and easy with Carbonite. For a free trial plus 2 free months with purchase, go to Carbonite.com. Offer code MacBreak. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, episode 222. It's like room 222. Here he is in the room with us, Mr. Alex Lindsay, the Pixel Core.
Hello.
Pixelcore.com. If you want to find out more about that great multimedia guild, Pixelcore.tv, for the podcasts, of which they are so famous.
We're doing more live streams. We had a whole lot of people.
How'd that go?
It went great.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we had, and we're going to be doing more streaming this weekend. If it all works. So you need to follow me or follow the Pixel Core on Twitter, and we'll Twitter it. But if it works, we're going to have 2 cameras on a camera car, a car hooked to the back of Kelly all-in-one truck. You know, Kelly's all-in-one truck. So we're going to have a car dragging behind it, not dragging, but following behind it, with a jib moving around it to shoot some shots.
Wow.
And we're going to try to stream both the witness cameras and the main camera
Via live view or
via live view from the
really cool.
from the truck. So
that's really neat.
So it'll be for half an hour. You'll get to kind of see what that looks like. And so but follow us and we'll Twitter it if it's working.
Also with us from the planet Hoth, Andy Ihnatko, Chicago Sun-Times.
I have one small bit of prepared comedy that I'd like to execute at this time.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Please.
Vader's going to send Imperial walkers. Let them, because you know what? Imperial walkers, they're just pieces of junk. They can hit the side of a... One's behind me now, isn't there? Lovely pieces of engineering, so stable in forest environments and and that's the prepared comedy. I now open the table for Q&A.
So you do look like you were at a piano bar on the planet Hoth. Can you explain what happened?
Well, you see, you get an email from someone you know at Industrial Light and Magic who says, you need a backdrop? Well, I can send you a backdrop. I got a backdrop like hanging around the office if you want a backdrop.
Wow.
I mean, backdrop, we can give you a backdop. It's not a big problem getting a backdrop.
That's an ILM backdrop.
That's, yes, the letter that accompanied it tells me that the ILM made this specifically for a DVD interview with Dennis Muren.
Really?
So, who did like the Imperial Walker sequences on an Empire Strikes Back.
That's pretty neat.
So
he's also one of the top visual effects supervisors in the world.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's in demigod status at this. He's the guy that like every kid on that in his neighborhood who knew like what he did for a living, every trash day his trash would be totally picked apart, looking for just like one little leg or one little piece of bot.
There's got to be a Wookiee in here somewhere.
Exactly. So yes, it's so the last night's project was not, you have no idea how big this thing is. I mean, I can't if I this is I'm not going to see how well.
Are you on are you on the porch still, or are you somewhere else?
I'm still. See, this is as far back as I can go, but it's
gigantic.
It is 90 inches wide by 40 inches tall. I bought some lumber last night at the Home Depot, and I built myself a big frame. Now, what you want to get is like a scrim-style frame for this, because you're not going to tack this up with no fun tack, because it's a really nice piece of poster.
That really looks great, I have to say. Now, what is in front of you? It looks like a copy stand or something. What have you done here in front?
This is actually the screen that I use every week to see exactly what you guys are up to.
So we just never saw it before.
You just never saw it before because, see, normally, like, this is like the video hour on SCTV. Normally, my shot is like this.
Right. It's tight. Yeah.
It would hardly be show you the prowess of the all-terrain armored transport if I were typed like this, and so.
Not too far out. Zoom in a little bit because here's the deal. When I put you with Alex, it looks like you're a god on Mount Olympus looking down at him.
I think
like
that might be the.
You're going for that.
That might be the point.
Is that the look you're going for?
Okay, how about? Is that good enough?
Oh, do whatever you want. I like it. I think it's great. It's a great shot. It's a great shot. not whatever you want. So. iOS 4.2.1 is out. Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. Came out on Monday. Delayed, I think, twice. I think it was. I think they really did want to get it out that on the day that the rumors said they wanted to get it out, and then there was another rumor that said they wanted to get it out last Friday. Finally, did come out, and if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you can now update.
Commence the update.
Commence the update may commence. I have it here on this Mac, and of course, it's got the features we expected from the iPhone.
Folders.
It's got folders, which is really handy, and it's exactly like the iPhone implementation with 4.1. You also have the if you double tap the home button, you have the multitasking apps all listed out there, and then on the left, if you scroll left, and this is one thing that's unique to the iPad, we no longer have the hardware scroll lock button. That's been turned into a kind of sort of mute button. It doesn't mute everything.
Rotation, yeah.
Well, and so now, the rotation button. So now this is the rotation lock is in software there. This is unfortunate because the mute button, well, for instance, it mutes sound effects, but it doesn't mute Pandora. I guess it's supposed to be analogous to the iPhone mute button.
Which is stupid because the phone is a device that by its nature is going to make noise unexpectedly when you don't ask it to. That's not what the iPad does. The iPad is going to rotate the screen unexpectedly when you don't ask it to. So, boy, I've got $20 that says that they're going to at least make a user option in a future version of iOS that lets you choose that sometime in the next 6 months.
Oh, I think Steve Jobs just says, no, this is how it's going to be. Too bad. Why would he?
Or more likely, well, we were going to do that, but since you're being a bunch of jerks about it, no, we're not going to do it.
We're not going to do anything. We're leaving it exactly as it is. I do like, now there come some things I like. I do like the fact that now we have a brightness setting right there, so it's always available. You don't have to go into settings. You could do it in settings before, but now it's right there. The play controls for, I guess it really only works for iTunes. I don't know. Volume level here. This icon maybe shouldn't just be. Well, let me see what happens if I play Pandora. Does it change to something else?
It's supposed to be a play deck that will work with anything that's doing streaming audio in the background. So if you're using if you have the updated version of Pandora, I haven't used it myself, but an app like that, if it's 4.2 Studley, should be able to control playback through that taskbar.
All right. Well, let's see. Okay, I've got Barry White radio on, and I'm going to double tap.
Your bass way down.
And you're saying that this should be when I slide left. Yes, it is. It's the Pandora app. So now this controls the Pandora app as opposed to the iTunes app. So it's showing you what audio app is working there.
Right.
That worked pretty well. That was nice. So now if I change to, say, the Victoria's Secret app for no apparent reason and start watching some Victoria's Secret video, it's kind of all, it's whatever, it's unknown, right? We don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. I don't know. I'll play it and we'll see.
Well, yeah. I mean, realize that the iPad is one audio at a time. So whatever app has control of the audio is supposed to be up there.
It's back to the iPod, unfortunately. However, I'm back to the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Tuesday, November 30th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, only on CBS. Sorry, guys. That's it on that.
No, that's okay. You know what? They sent you all that big box full of man-size underwear, and you got to
give them the plug.
Promo, you
got to give them the plug. You bet,
right
Andrew.
There in the store rundown.
Victoria's Secret plug right here. Actually, I'm going to do a couple of plugs before we get right into the rest of the news. One is that Gary Vaynerchuk's going to come up tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern to do our 1 hour. We're doing these Twit Talks now, which is really fun. Tom Merritt and I are talking to interesting people in the biz, and Gary is certainly interesting with his Wine Library TV and his book Crush It.
I saw him at the gas station.
He's a good speaker, really.
There's a couple of gas stations here in Petaluma that have video screens at the gas station.
Oh, man.
And it's right off of East Washington. There's a couple of the 76.
Is it Wine Library on the gas station?
Well, it was
pump?
Gary Vanderchurch. I mean, I don't know if it was Wine Library, but it was like, that's...
While you're pumping gas, you might want some great wine tips.
No. And you know what? It was kind of fun to sit there and watch them. I was like, really? And then I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And I just sat there. And
we are in wine country after all.
You're filling a little time. And anyway, I thought that was kind of funny.
So we're also doing, we're not going to be here, though, the week after Christmas. I hope you guys know. You won't be too bereft.
I'll show up. Where is he?
He's not here. The cottage is closed. It's locked. I don't want it. It's locked.
I brought my new slot car set. I thought Leon would enjoy it. Oh, well.
Okay, you can bring your presents over, but we're not going to do a show. I think we should compare presents.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
But what we are going to do is a best of, and if you'd like to vote for moments from the past year that you thought were worth repeating, funny moments, silly moments, light moments, heavy moments, serious moments, sad moments.
We don't have a lot of sad moments.
Well, we have that one where Steve Jobs kicks my ass.
Well, there's that. But did we film that?
No, we never got it on tape. But that you go to twit.tv/best of, and you can vote for your favorite moment. And the more information you give us, the more likely we will actually include it. So talking again about iOS 4.2, multitasking in folders is the most obvious thing. But, of course, printing, finally.
Air printing.
Only some apps support it right now, but I guess, Andy, am I wrong? But apps can add this.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's like multitasking. Your app has to be upgraded in order to support it. But yeah, it's a built-in feature. As a matter of all the core apps are already supported. If you go into Mail, for instance, and you choose the button that says send this someplace else, in addition to forwarding your email, you can also print it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really nicely integrated. It really speaks to how well pre-planned the iOS interface was thought out, that you don't have to have a separate print command, print button or print menu that, okay, we can just slide this right here and it'll just work just fine.
It's in that, export button or mail button or add bookmark button that does
the box with the arrowy thing going out of it.
Yeah, it does multi-duty in a lot of different things. Now, in order for me to print, I have to be sharing a printer on another computer. Is that right?
No, what has to happen is that, well, it depends on how you do it. Now, the air printing system is actually just a simple extension to the CUP system, the printing system that's built into right, exactly. It's built into Unix. Now, so out of the box, the consumer answer is, however, that you need to have a special printer that is compliant with the standard that Apple's promoting for AirPlay. Right now, the only company of any note, I think, that's actually has a number of printers like that is HP. However, solution number one is that if you happen to have a friend who's a developer, he can just grab the special files from a special system directory that basically tells the printing system, here's everything that an AirPrint device needs to know in order to hook up to any printer that's hooked up to this machine. So if you have a friend like that, then you can just simply copy these, I think, 3 files into the right directory, and suddenly all devices that you have that support AirPrint will be able to find that shared printer that's connected to that Mac and print.
Because I use network printers both at home and here. They're the Epson Artisan at home and an Epson multifunction laser printer here, and both of them have Ethernet jacks or Wi-Fi. Actually, in the case of the Epson at home, so they're on the network. So if I had the proper driver, I'd be able to print to that.
Well, it's not a printer driver. It's the question of
software.
Exactly, just telling Cups, it's essentially it's a little extension to Cups that simply tells, it puts out on the network the thing that an AirPrint device wants to see in order to say, oh, here's a printer that I know how to deal with.
Now, if I have my printer connected to my Airport Express, will that be something that I can? That should be something I should be able to print out of, right?
Right. Well, again, the consumer answer is that it will only work with a printer that is directly supported by this print standard. All it has to do is to be available to the network, and it will work. I think I haven't tried it myself, but I think that it should work by that stretch with the USB port on any shared Apple networking device. But right now, that's the consumer answer. There's also my pick of the week is actually an app that will deliver that functionality to any Mac running. It's a really nice little utility that adds extra functionality.
I was not going to mention that. Okay, good. I'll leave that out. So later in the show.
We'll use that as a teaser to keep people listening.
That was it, though, right?
That was it.
Okay,
exactly.
good. All right.
Unless you're listening, and then you have no idea what we're talking about.
It's possible to do this, and so we will talk about that. Now, there's another feature to iOS 4 that's kind of hit and miss, and that's AirPlay.
Yes.
So with AirPlay, the theory was anyway that you could and I guess it will be eventually if more apps support it, but you could play if you have video on your device, could be a Mac or could be an iPad or an iPhone, and you have a new Apple TV on your TV, you can play video from it.
Which is great. I mean, there's something that I wanted to be able to do almost immediately.
Right.
Is be able to, pop that in. I mean, because you want to connect it, but it'd be much nicer.
Have either of you played with it? Because I didn't.
Yep. I was using it all day yesterday. It worked a treat. Works for audio, works for video. I just absolutely loved it.
So it does work.
It does work. I have the Apple TV. You do have to update your Apple TV to 4.1 OS, which also hit yesterday. But it's like AirPrint, where an application has to specifically support it. It will work with audio and video. There's some circumstances under which it will not work with video. For instance, there's a cool. It works in a cool way where if you're in Safari, there's an embedded video player we're all familiar with. That standard embedded video player, which pops up in so many applications, that's part of an Apple operating system dealie, and that supports AirPlay built in, so that a lot of your apps are going to get that feature for free. However, there's still the problem of making sure that the video that it's trying to play is encoded in a format that the target device knows how to deal with. So, for instance, if you're trying to play videos from if you're looking at a blog in Safari and you want to play this video that's embedded and you want it to go to your Apple TV, the Apple TV doesn't know how to. Excuse me. As far as I understand it, the Apple TV doesn't know how to deal with certain codecs, and so you'll get the audio, but the video will still be playing on the iPad.
Does the
normally?
Go ahead.
So that's why you get audio only in some cases. It's because it's a codec issue.
It's a codec issue. It's not as simple as I understand it now, and unfortunately, I've been a little bit lax in finding out exactly how AirPlay works. This is all like in the past 30 hours I've been learning about this. So it's not as though your iPad will transcode this video into a brand new format that is AirPlay compliant, that will be playable on every single device. Supposedly, it simply diverts the stream, Ghostbusters style, into the target device, and if the device doesn't know how to deal with it, then it communicates back to the iPad. Okay, dude, I know what to do with this audio, but the video, you're totally on your own.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you're going to see.
If you have VLC, I guess VLC would have to be updated for AirPlay.
Yeah, well, I mean, VLC barely works as it is. I mean, it's
it does something like Keynote. Is something Keynote aware? So could you theoretically run a presentation on them?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't tried Keynote yet.
I mean, one of the things I was looking at is that you could theoretically hook an Apple TV to a projector anywhere and then be able to just, connect and run your presentation off of it.
That would be great. I mean, there's no, from what I understand from the developer documentation, there aren't a whole lot of limits to what you can do with AirPlay. So if Keynote wanted to turn an AirPlay device into Apple TV into presentation target, it could do that. If a third-party slideshow or photo app wanted to do that, like the traditional. Now the loving, happy married couple comes into the photo studio and sees the photos of the blessed day, that sort of app. Then yes, in theory, there's nothing stopping the developer from creating that kind of a feature.
Apple has opened the API. So
can you connect to more than one airport at a time?
Not at a time. However, it is very, very polite in how it deals with the concept of having multiple devices, all of which want to talk to that same Apple TV. So, for instance, if I'm listening to music that's being driven from my iPhone on the sofa next to me, the sofa cushion next to me, and I'm just listening to it right there, and then I'm also on my MacBook, and I want to start playing video from iTunes onto the Apple TV. It will tell me as soon as I click on the AirPlay button here, it'll tell me, oh, I'm sorry, that device is already in use, try again. But the moment that I click pause on the iPhone, or the moment that playlist ends, immediately the AirPlay system, the Apple TV realizes that, okay, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm available to anybody who now wants me to use it. So I don't have to log off of it. I don't have to disconnect from it. It's just a big funnel with a point that goes into the Apple TV. And although one person could be using it at a time, anyone who can shoot video into that will get the Apple TV. It's really very cool the way that works.
One other limitation, I think John Gruber noted this on Daring Fireball, is that the video that you shoot on an iPhone 4 is not playable, oddly enough. through AirPlay, and he theorizes it's just too big. It's 10 megabits a second.
That's very possible. The only videos that I had on my iPad that I couldn't stream were an HD version of Up, where I got a gorgeous first frame of where I had paused the movie, but after that, just the spinning wagon wheel of intemperance. So that was it.
I mean, if you think about it, you're going over Wi-Fi.
Yeah. It's pretty gnarly. Although you'd be surprised. This is the demonstration of how cool this feature works. I went out to Home Depot to buy my Lumba last night. I was listening to a podcast on the drive back, and then when I got back in, when I got back in, all I had to do was just continue, press pause on the podcast I was listening to, and then just simply click the button to activate AirPlay, select the Apple TV, and then the podcast continued through my home theater speakers while I was cutting up wood and building this thing. So it wasn't normally it would have been the sort of thing where I have to unplug some speakers, plug it into this thing, or redock and restream it from another device. But the idea that it really does work as though it's just a wireless set of speakers and a wireless video that you can just connect to disconnect at will works incredibly well.
It'd be really great to have that in my car. When I think about, because that's the missing link. I mean, because I have a lot of, I'm listening to Audible books, and I'm going from car to my headphone and then into my house, and there is that little bit of a plug in as I go.
We had Ford as a sponsor today.
Yeah.
Because it works really well.
Oh, right.
With A2DP and the sync, yeah. I get in the car, and the book starts playing. When I get out, it stops playing.
Yeah.
Works really nicely. So it's really a car thing, I think.
It is. It would be... Oh, it's a car thing. I got the wrong car.
Got the wrong car.
You're saying there's something wrong with my 9-year-old car?
No, he's got a brand new one. He's got a Toyota.
Plenty of things wrong with it.
Well, I'm looking at a Leaf next year.
Nissan.
Yeah.
I've got to think that all the car manufacturers are going to get a little better about this. The sync was ahead of its time, but I've got to think that they realize that this is what everybody wants.
I guess I really wish they would just build an input for my iPad. I don't need them. I need them to stop thinking. I know. Ford is doing it right. So if they keep on doing it the way Ford is,
jack, it plugs into the.
I'm saying just give me the. I don't mean a USB jack. Just give me the.
If you put the sync cable in the USB jack, then you get in and you plug in your iPad.
Well, I want
plays everything.
So where my GPS screen is.
It has controls for all.
I just want an
music.
iPod connector.
Oh, you want?
I just want to stick it in and then close it in. Here's the thing.
I see what you're saying. You want an in-dash iPad.
This is the thing that I think a lot of manufacturers are missing. We were talking about this a lot on TWIP, because my whole thing is that some manufacturers are going to get smart about this, and they're going to realize that people like me, and there's a lot of us now, a lot of us have bought iPads, a lot of us have iPhones. We want that to be our interface to everything else. So stop making these stupid little LED whatever that you're working on. You have a whole bunch of engineers, and it all comes out looking like crap.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: is just literally build an iPhone version. Don't believe me. Continue to make your little piece of crap that you put into your CRV or into your whatever, but just humor me and create an iPhone connector and an SDK. Here's the thing: build an SDK for your car. And I have an SDK for the iPhone, and then let people build apps on the iTunes store that do all kinds of things with your car.
That would be nice.
And suddenly you have this incredible creativity that would explode, and that's the same with cameras.
That's what Ford says they're going to do. They're going to support an apps layer. They have
there's already a bunch of really cool hardware devices you can get that work via Bluetooth. There's a diagnostic connector in every single car made since 1999. Right.
I want to be able to change the fuel air on my car with my iPad.
See,
they're not going to let you do that. I can tell you right now.
I would read through the terms of service on that very, very carefully, because if you ever want to get an insurance claim paid off and for the rest of your life, they're going to say, "Oh well, we noticed that 4 months before the accident on 2 in the morning, you happen to exceed the RPMs and the speed limit by 3 miles per hour."
Never mind. One other news.
You're talking to someone who so desperately wanted to have an iPad dash mount working.
Yes.
And I got 2 or 3 things that jury rigged that could actually mount it correctly, and a couple different people sent me different things that they had built to get it working. And it's not. I find that's not just a problem of getting it to mount on the dashboard and getting power and stuff like that. It's such a big sheet of glass that if you don't have an immense hood over it, it's just not going to work for you. You're not going to find that one angle that you can find exactly on the iPhone. So, I mean, I'm just like you in that I really do want better support for phones in my car, but I'm wondering if everybody's choices are so idiosyncratic that you can't do a built-in that everybody's going to like.
Well, but I think that I don't think it's built. I don't think it's a built-in that everyone likes. I think just give us the option. Just allow it. Just make it one of the options.
Just an API so we can get things like engine speed, engine temperature, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't need to really do the fuel air. What I'm saying is that it would be great, though, to get the diagnostics.
There is ODB ODB3 software for the iPhone, but you have to, I can't remember, I think you have to have a hardware connection as well.
But being able to click it in and then be able to control my stereo and my interaction, but then people could get real creative about it.
I have to tell you, and having talked to Ford engineers about this, the real key for them is isolating your computer from the car computer. They really don't want to get in a liability situation, and they really don't want hackers. You read that story where hackers were using the tire sensor to hack into the car computer. They really want to keep that car computer isolated from the outside world. So
I just think that we have to sign a whole bunch of things when we want to do it.
They're not going to do that.
I'm quite happy to sign it.
They're not going to do that. However, what they've done with Sync, and I'm sure all the guys will do, is essentially have an isolated system. And what Sync's smart is because it uses your phone. It says, look, your phone's going to be more up to date than we could ever do because it's the 3 or 4 year development cycle for a car. So we'll just make sure that we tie into the phone. And I think they do a good job of that.
Well, yeah, and I think that it doesn't have to be a direct link to my car, but I do think having that interface of being able to get all that, get the information that I'm looking at. And you could build an SDK that just gave me, these are the things you can program to.
I have it around here that you plug it into your ODB3, it downloads the data from it, and then you take the SD card and you put it in your Mac, and you get all the data there.
Oh, but I want to have it.
I know you want it on your iPhone.
I want it on my iPhone. I don't want it on my computer.
Hey, let's take a break. When we come back, there is more good news for iOS 4.2 and some bad news, too. We'll talk about that in just a bit. MacBreak Weekly is on the air with Alex Lindsay, Andy Ihnatko, I'm Leo Laporte. And I'm here to tell you about GoToMeeting from the great folks at Citrix. GoToMeeting eliminates all that business travel that we're all sick of doing. You're going to Rwanda.
I am going to Rwanda.
You've got to talk them into letting you use GoToMeeting.
We're going to be using it a lot as we get going. So I'm having a meeting. I need to have some face-to-face meetings.
You have to do FaceTime,
But like we are literally, and we use GoToMeeting or a variant of it every week for all of our for a lot of our meetings, and we have people from all over the world going to this that we bring in for these meetings all the time, and we're going to run huge parts of our education process.
Future, isn't it?
Oh man, I mean,
the future.
We're going to be teaching students in Rwanda in Kigali from my Petaluma office. That's why I'm building the grid. We're going to be doing classes from there using this software.
You just go to webinar or something like that.
GoToWebinar is what we use. Yeah.
That's the GoToMeeting has 15 people in a meeting. If you want to do something larger,
we can do
have bigger products. Yeah. GoToMeeting though, Mac or PC doesn't matter. Cross-platform. You can be holding the meeting on a Mac and be meeting with somebody on a PC. And by the way, you can trade control around. So if you're doing trainings like Alex is doing, you can show them on your computer, and then say, "Let's see you do it." They can either control your computer or you can look at theirs while they're doing it.
And they can type in questions, and they can raise their hand and a lot of other things.
Built-in teleconferencing, voice over the internet and phone teleconferencing, free. I mean, I can go on and on. This really is a great product. It's a world-changing product. There are other choices, I know, but this is the easiest, and the best way to find out is to try it free for a month of unlimited online meetings. Just visit gotomeeting.com/MacBreak. Within a minute or two, you'll be set up and ready to go. And the next time somebody says, let's get a conference call, you can say, I got a better idea. Let's go to meeting instead. Much more effective. Really does a great job and saves you a lot of money. GoToMeeting, $49 a month. That's about 5% of the cost of a single business trip. Unless you're going to Rwanda, and it's about 1/10 of 1%. I can only imagine what you spend in airfare.
It's about a little over $2,000 round trip.
Not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a
long flight.
It's Brussels. You fly to Brussels and then you fly straight into Kigali.
I don't know how you do it. I'm going to.
You got a cocoon.
Oh, you go business.
No.
So when you're saying cocoon, you have a little tiny seat.
I have a mental.
You wrap yourself in cheap
state.
blankets.
No, I get into a mental state where I stop moving and I just kind of just go into a little bit of a trance.
This is why people use GoToMeeting. Jeez Louise. So I like this. Let me praise Apple for doing this. I use Find My iPhone all the time, but in the past you've had to be a Mobile Me member. The new iOS 4.02 makes Find My iPhone /iPad free to everyone. This is a great feature, and if you've not used it, I can show you. As long as my kids aren't watching. Because, by the way, it's not just for finding your iPhone. It's for finding your family. There's a Harry Potter clock in one of the books where every member of the family is like a hand on the clock, so they know where everybody is and when they're coming home. And I always thought, boy, that would really be cool. Well, all you have to do is give your kids iPhones, and you can do it too, or iPads.
I realized, so if you wanted to put one in your car, this is after I lost my car and I wanted to know where it was. So the cheapest way, so I did some research, and you could low jack your car, and that's going to cost you $150. Hear me out. It's going to cost you $150, and a couple things: $150, $49 a month, or $39 a month, and it's every thief knows exactly where to go to disable it.
Right.
So if you buy a 3GS for $99,
and just leave it in the car.
No, family plan on AT&T is $15 a month for every added thing. So you could just leave it in the car, somewhere in the car, and you would literally, if it was powered. I mean, if you found a place to power it or whatever, for $15 a month, you'd have a low jack. That's actually a much better interface than the one that comes with you can buy for your car.
And I love this.
It is fantastic.
So here's so I can see my sons at school, which is good. I can see where Abby
takes all the fun out of ditching school.
My wife, my iPad, and my iPhone, and then you also so this is a GPS, and obviously if you're not sure from the map, you can see from the satellite information. There's a school. I can tell. I can zoom in. The circle's kind of neat. That shows you the confidence radius. And as time goes by, it gets smaller as it zeroes in on it. But I know he's somewhere in this radius. There's also, if you press the I button, there's some things you can do. You can display a message or play a sound on the phone. That's so you can say, hey, please give me my phone back, or play a loud sound if you're trying to find it in the seat cushions. There's a remote lock and a remote wipe. This is a great feature, and I've been using it for a while since I have a Mobile Me account. Right. Now you don't have to anymore, which I think is great.
It can be a little bit frustrating, though. Last week, I think Mark Waid, whose name is going to be familiar to just about every comics fan out there, he did one of the best runs of the Avengers and the Flash ever. But he left his iPad behind on a plane, and frustrating as hell because he could see exactly what hotel whoever found it had brought it to.
Oh.
Okay, but really, I mean, it's frustrating because he can the GPS can tell you that it is within this building somewhere, but you can't tell the local police, hi, can you send someone to do a door-to-door search of the Best Western until you find someone who has an iPad, and then have them start it up to see if it has a flash.
It won't do a floor, for instance. It doesn't do height. So if it, it could be anywhere on 10 floors in a tall building. We lost a phone in a field, and it's not immediately obvious how to find.
But you turn on the.
You could. Well, I never heard the
sound.
I turned on the sound. I never heard it, so I don't know.
It was. I wonder if does it turn on the sound even if it's in silent? It must.
Yes, it does.
If it's in silent mode, it will make that noise. Yeah. All that has to happen is that as long as it's charged, it'll work.
Yeah. I just think this is a really it's.
It is great. If anything, there's stupid things that whenever I worry or wonder about something that I may or may not have done stupid, there's always that list of it's almost impossible for you to be so stupid as to leave your phone behind somewhere.
Right.
So, but you like to have that verification that so long as it's somewhere inside the house, I know I don't have a problem. As long as you do, if you do the Find My iPhone, you realize that it's centered somewhere around my office building, so I know it hasn't been stolen. I didn't leave it at a restaurant. I just left it at my desk or something. So
yeah, I could see that. My iPad is right where it is.
Yeah,
right there.
It is a miracle feature. I don't know if you're watching the new version of Sherlock Holmes. It's on the PBS Masterpiece Theater. It's exceptional. Yeah. And of course, on the first episode, Watson locates Sherlock, who's in a bit of trouble, by accessing the Me Phone website and using the Find My Me Phone feature.
That's pretty funny. Mobile Me Phone. Yeah, the Sherlock Holmes is modern. In case you're wondering how they had phones in at 221 Baker Street, it's the modern version of this. Yeah,
it is such a great feature.
Anyway, free now. Thank you, Apple. I was talking to a police officer when we lost your car.
So evidently, even here in Petaluma, 2 or 3 people have their cars absconded with every week.
Oh, really? Stolen?
Yeah. Stolen.
Really?
And
so it's not unheard of.
not unheard of. But a lot of people do what I do, which is just lose their car. So anyway, my CRV.
I was here when I left it.
My CRV is officially the largest thing I've ever lost, and probably the most. No, it's not the most expensive thing I've ever lost, but it's the largest.
That's a big hole in your pants pocket if you lose a car.
I lost a car, but only for a couple hours.
Bad news. Some people are reporting their music disappears with iOS 4.2. There does seem to be a fix for that if you have disappearing music on your iPhone. It's not erased. You just need to resync. So the date is there, but I guess that maybe the index or something gets munged. Apple Insider has an article if you want to know more. And I guess there's a thread on the Apple discussion groups that says what to do. I don't know, so I can't tell you. Resync.
Resync. It'll be right back.
Enough, isn't it? What more do you want? It did. I was a little perturbed, and I don't know.
It was a big download too. It's
600 megs or something.
I think it was more than that.
Yeah,
it was huge.
And I was a little perturbed because all my folders were lost. I had to, reorganize. These were all in folders. So
yeah.
Sigh.
No,
because you spend a lot of time. At least the folders now, it's a lot easier to organize.
I was super organized with my iPhone, and then I updated it at some point in time, and it all the folders were lost again. I was like, and then now it's not been quite the same. I was just like, oh, I don't want to do this again.
Right. That's not. Yeah. So now it's a mess.
No, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah. Never there.
I'll show you. I'll just stay disorganized and unhappy. That'll learn you. Oh wait, no, it won't.
User Slouch Sock 8 says, here's how you get your data back. Connect the phone to iTunes via USB. Play a song on the phone itself from iTunes. You know how you do that? Like with AirTunes, it's in the lower right-hand corner. You say, play this through the iPhone. Click the sync button then to resync the phone. Open the iPod application on the phone to rebuild the music library. I don't know how he figured that one out. That's just goofy. This is, by the way, 4.2.1. We don't know why 4.2, the original Goldmaster, was not released. I'm still having Wi-Fi connectivity issues. One of the things I noticed when I updated is it didn't stop noticing my automatic connect Wi-Fi's, and I have to kind of manually say, when I got here, it didn't see it. So I had to manually say, I'm here. Now I presume from now on it'll know I'm here, but just something to be aware of. You might be on 3G. Probably it's very important to be aware of that if you're up at your limit. And already there is a jailbreak. Boy, that didn't take long.
Those guys are industrious.
Unbelievable. The iPhone dev team released the newest update, Red Snow, version 0.9.6b4, Mac and Windows. So if you want to jailbreak, the only reason I could think of is for tethering, right? What else? Oh, you do use that God demo, right? So you can.
No, I don't.
Andy does.
I gave up on it.
Yeah, exactly. There are two things that I like jailbreaking for. One is tethering. But I think if you already have unlimited, if you've been grandfathered into unlimited data use, you don't want to do anything that would cause AT&T to say, "Congratulations, you just violated your terms of service. We're going. Oh, you can still have your iPhone, but we're going to have to give you a brand new contract that has a 2 gigabyte cap on it." And the second thing is mirroring of the screen, which doesn't work as well as the version that Steve has for his keynotes. But even at 3 or 4 frames per second, it's good enough to show an audience like what you're doing on your iPad.
Yeah, we used it initially on iPad today, and it was just slightly lower res. It just kind of didn't look quite as good. So I just shoot the screen directly now.
It looks great when you're shooting directly.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. I mean, and it does look great if you have the right camera and the angle of. Somebody sent me a really nice stand for this particular purpose from Monavis.
Wow, that's great.
The P design, and it's like kind of the.
Can you adjust it so it's
yeah
super adjustable?
See these knobs, so you can tilt, and that's what I need for a camera is to get the exact right angle of incidence, so I don't have any keystoning.
That's awesome.
There you go, and it's bright enough if you iris the camera just right. Get the brightness just right. The only problem is big fat fingers. But on the other hand, I think as you watch video, you want to see the fingers. You don't want to see that little dot that they do. I think the fingers are useful. And I imagine if you put it on I think that's what they often do is they put it on like one of those stands with the cameras that shoot down that they use in college and a place like that. You could do that too. Moving. What are you looking at?
I'm buying one.
What are you looking at? Here, just take a look at that. You can.
I'm gonna buy one.
Write that all down. I don't even know. They just did a run. I get a lot of that stuff in the mail. I apologize.
You know, coming into this office is very expensive for me.
I know. Me too. You come in and I have to buy crap too.
Mine are more expensive.
Your stuff's really expensive.
I get you back.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So you do have to update to Apple TV 4.1 to get that AirPlay working. Some Apple TV users are saying they're having some strange color issues with Sony and Philips TVs. This is according to Engadget. How did it look on yours, Andy?
Looked just fine. Mine's a Samsung, though. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Apparently, it's only those two models.
AirPlay is working fine. The only difference is that you can kind of see the limitations of the A4 processor on the iPad because obviously you can multitask. AirPlay will work in the background while you're doing things in the front ground, but there will be times at which you'll hear just a tiny little stutter because you just tapped something and asked your iPad photo editor to do an unsharp mask, and for one fraction of a second, nope, I'm good. I'm good. Just a little bit of a wobble.
So there are videos on Engadget that show the effect. So I presume I don't know why there's German music playing, but that's where it's coming from.
Although there's another thing that I'm trying to track down. Unfortunately, I can't find my adapter. But some people are telling me that one of the coolest hidden features of the camera connection kit has been sort of quietly removed, where if you use the USB version of the camera adapter and you plug in like a really good USB microphone, you can record off of that microphone, no problems whatsoever. A couple different people have told me that now under iOS 4.2, there are different power requirements for devices you're plugging in there. So it no longer delivers enough power to tell a good microphone that, hey, to maintain compatibility. Which I'm still trying to figure that out. Again, I haven't seen it yet because I still need to. The last chance thing is if I don't find it by tomorrow, I'm like, oh damn it, I have to go to the Apple store and buy another damn connection kit because I can't find. Oh damn it, Andy.
I have mine somewhere.
That's not what a higher life form does. A higher life form keeps track of these things.
No, they don't. Don't be foolish.
But I think we all agree that kind of suck if a feature that I know that a lot of people use.
Oh, it's a great feature.
Use it, yeah, exactly. So,
unadvertised. Let's face it. I mean, it wasn't something Apple said.
Yeah, and I don't want to be hasty. One thing, I haven't tried and failed to use it myself. And secondly, maybe there's a good reason why they made that change, as opposed to simply saying we just want to be mean because we're Apple. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see here. Rupert Murdoch will be our next story, but before Rupert Murdoch's story.
And his son. His son is involved.
Is his son involved? I'm very curious about this. I want to know more about this. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about backing up. Backing up's very important. We all need a backup. We all need someone we can lean on. Now, I have network attached storage, Drobos. I've got a Tornado plug. I got a Pogo plug. I got every kind of backup in the house. But I'm not foolish because I know if the worst happened and the house burned down, all that crap would get burned down too, and then I'd be verklempt for a lack of data. So I also back up to the cloud, in the words of Microsoft. To the cloud! And that's with Carbonite.com. Works with Mac and Windows. I know you don't care about Windows, but works with Mac just great. Well, here's what happens. You install Carbonite. You can try it free for 2 weeks. You don't even need a credit card if you go to Carbonite.com/MacBreak. Try it free for 2 weeks. You install it, immediately starts backing up. Uses your internet connection whenever you're online, is backing up. Now, if you have 100,000 megabytes or gigabytes of data, it might take a while. It's dependent on the speed of your internet connection. So please understand that. Somebody said, he sent me an email, I have 250 gigabytes, and it's going to take a long time. Well, of course it is. If you had a bigger pipe, it might not take so long. It's really dependent on that. That's why I want you to try before you buy. But once that first backup's done, then it pretty much keeps you always backed up because you're not creating data that fast. And it's beautiful because anytime something happens, whether you accidentally delete a file or you lose your laptop or your hard drive dies, you can just go online with your iPhone and get that data back. You can go online with your Android phone, your BlackBerry. Actually, I don't think they have an Android app yet, but BlackBerry phone. You can go online with any browser from any computer, log onto your Carbonite account. There's all of your data, safe as houses. 128-bit SSL, all the time, so you don't have to worry. You can even, if you go into Starbucks and you're in an open access point, don't worry, nobody's seeing your data. And if you want more, you can use triple DES or blowfish encryption to even make it more private. Only you have the key to that. I can go on and on. There's lots of nice features. Carbonite really is a great solution. I put it on my daughter's laptop before she went to college, and it's a nice peace of mind, I must say. Go to Carbonite.com. Use the offer code MacBreak. Try it free for 2 weeks, and if you use MacBreak when you buy, it's only $55 a year, but we're going to save you even more. 2 months free when you use the offer code MacBreak. Don't put this off. Backup is so important. I don't want it to be tomorrow you say, oh, I meant to back up. I forgot to back up, and now my drive's dead. Oh, I don't want that to happen to you. Carbonite.com. Offer code is MacBreak. I'm glad, Andy, that you've got some protective gear now on, because we wouldn't want you to have any problems with vision.
Yeah, I decided that I wanted to look a little bit more like a rebel, a ground trooper. Since I did have the goggles near the table, I thought that, well, I'll just feel foolish if I don't put them on. Like, I did stop before getting like the Luke Skywalker like scarf that's sort of dangling down from one side.
That's very cute. Did you have those, or did you actually go out and get them to go with your walker?
Well, you see, there's a good news, bad news sort of thing in terms of making me look like not like an idiot. The good news is that no, I didn't buy it for this backdrop. The bad news is that I had it nearby because it was part of a Halloween costume. ... for my stuffed dog. Anyway.
And you know what? I believe him.
Hi, I'm a grown functioning adult. Nice to meet you.
And he's got, it's
good. Causing Wookiee noises. Oh, no. Well, that's good.
I was number 2. If they couldn't find Jabba, Jabba was like a stagehand who spoke Navajo and had the crazy voice.
Really?
And so they, when they went to find him, he's not an actor. When they went to find him, there was a little trouble tracking him down. And so I was the pinch hitter. I was
really?
Secretly hoping.
Do you think any of your dialogue appears in any of the movies?
None of my final. No, I didn't end up with any final. I was in the top 5 for Jar Jar before they just decided to go with Ahmed, and then I was in the top 3 for Darth Maul, and then I was number 2 for. I was so close. I am in the movie though.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
So if in
episode 1?
In episode 1, there is a shot where the camera droid is in Masa. It's like kind of going across in the city, and it's kind of floating along. And there's a guy in orange. He's this orange suit with a metal helmet, and he looks like he's talking to himself. Well, I'm not talking to myself. I was standing right next to Jonathan Rothbart, and they took him out because you could see too much of his face. So they rotoed him out. But they left me in. I survived because I had a face mask on.
I want the frame.
I have to find the frame. But yeah. No, I was. There was a couple times. Like, what would happen is they need extras.
I believe it's probably just a frame or two, right?
I got a whole second. I don't think I got a frame. I think I got like.
Well,
and there's another shot right when Anakin. If you really look hard, when Anakin finishes and wins the race, they'll see a guy with like a hat, like regular. It looks like a just like a little I don't know, some little hat, and you see him going like this, running behind Anakin.
That's you too.
Well, what would happen is that you would get we'd be working, and someone would just come in and say, I need you, and you, and then you'd go there, and then they put you in. Like the thing I was wearing was like a spray painted scuba suit with some. I mean, like when you actually look at these outfits close up, they're kind of scary looking. I mean, they're not.
Sure,
they're not particularly.
They're meant to be,
but they look fine on film.
Screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
you make it sound like getting conscripted into the Korean army.
It is. No, it's just like I need you, and you, and
you fighting for the people's army.
And you get the army. You get the afternoon off, and you wander about in some kind of weird thing, and go like this in front of the green screen, and then you go back to work. And you don't get a credit, and you don't get any points.
Alex, I will openly say that that's way cooler than my Empire Strikes Back backdrop.
But, well, not way.
No,
that is way cooler. That is way cooler.
Oh, anyway. All right.
In the cafeteria, like, are certain like not with it people like realize that, gee, Perhaps all day long, I will talk like this, and maybe one of the sound engineers will hear me and put me in a movie. Yes,
Well, what
that
happens
could be
is
really annoying.
Well, what really happens is
I
that
would
the
like a burrito, please, with extra chicken. Extra chicken, yes. If you put some more chicken and meat in there, I will enjoy that very much. Oh, really? You're doing sound design for the next? Oh, I didn't know. I had no idea. I'm sorry.
Surprise.
What happened is that they would need scratch voices. How they got to know that they would need you is that they would need scratch voices. They put out, you get this thing on all messages going, we're looking for a couple of scratches for this and this, and so you go out and try out for a couple of scratches. Once they know you can do scratch voices, then you start. Like Ian McCaig and I did all of the voices for the Senate Rotunda. So it was like between the two of us, we did like 30 different ones, and I was like, Senator, Minister, and then you have all these other, and you're, and we just do each one, and and then send them all in, and that's what's in the previs. And then they get rid of them all before
Dick Cavett, do another one is Trini Lopez. And
that's
now
really
Senator
cool.
James Mason raises an objection to the. Sorry, go ahead.
What was funny? I had to do one where I impersonated Tommy Lee Jones, and I did it. What was funny was I did it, and he goes, "You sound." He said, "It's the wrong Tommy Lee Jones. You sound just like the one from The Fugitive," which of course is what all I watched the night before. It was like I just totally.
I didn't even know there was a wrong or a right.
I kind of argue with him. I was kind of like, it's
Tommy Lee is Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee Jones is Tommy Lee Jones, but he said no, that one sounds just like The Fugitive, and the problem was that is what I watched.
There's a reason.
And I was like.
So Rupert Murdoch, now this, I don't think, as far as I know, has been confirmed. The Guardian had the story that Rupert Murdoch and Apple were going to create a tablet-only newspaper. Now, there's some credence to this because Murdoch has said in the past we're going to do something like this.
It's called The Daily.
The Daily. Well, I don't know if they've announced it. I keep looking for
I saw it somewhere
an official announced. I don't know if there's an official.
We were just talking about it on Twim this morning. Hold on, let me.
So he says it'll be
it's daily, 99 cents a week.
99 cents a week. It'll be written with the sensibilities of a tabloid and the intelligence of a broadsheet. The broadsheets are things like the Financial Times and New York Times.
Right.
But the New York Post folks, I think, are involved. He says he's going to hire 100 journalists and a half dozen or so technicians.
I think that they said that they already have.
Really?
That was in one of the.
Then the rumor was by end of November. Gruber quite rightly points out that it's a little too late for that, but probably December 8th or 9th we will hear about this. Would you buy a tablet-only newspaper? 99 cents a week is cheap.
The price is definitely right. And I think that they'll get a lot of sampling at that price. And if the delivery mechanism works really, really great, meaning I don't have to remember to connect and download whenever I feel like it. If it just simply magically this thing gets updated for me automatically, that could be really interesting. I could find $4 in my budget every month for a decent daily newspaper where I don't have to really think about.
Well, and especially if that's the question: is it going to be? I mean, how good is it going to be?
Well, I think the big thing that since they're making it only for the iPad, hopefully what we're going to see is something that's really custom made for the iPad or custom made for a tablet, so that we're not right now. What we've seen so far is when you subscribe, you're getting kind of like The Economist came out last week. Yay! Anyway, so
but you have to buy each edition.
But you have to buy
every
each edition.
Week, now different. For expensive too.
Yeah, and so you have to buy each edition, and it's really it's kind of a sexed up. It's like we put a little video into it, and we added a couple, but it's still the magazine.
Right.
The opportunity here is to do something
unique,
different,
something designed for the tablet.
Yeah, that's going to take full advantage of it, and so hopefully that's what we're going to see them kind of go down.
You think Murdoch's the guy?
I think if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be them. I mean, they're going to experiment with it.
They're into paywalls, so what I love is the Times.
This is the ultimate paywall. Remember that this isn't an online magazine with an iPad component.
Yeah.
The only way you can get it is just exactly.
Which would be why they're interested in it, because they're trying to save that business model. And I don't see why not. I mean, this is one of the things I kind of was not thrilled about with the iPad, is it encourages this kind of thing as opposed to a free and open web and the link economy and all of that stuff. But you can still do that on the iPad, and if somebody else.
Yeah, and it really will have to be something that's got to be really good. I mean, like I'm willing to pay for I'm willing to pay for Wired. I'm willing to pay for Macworld. I'm willing to pay for The Economist. Not much anything else.
Although the Wired folks have said that the sales isn't bad on
but they're really expensive. I mean, that's the problem is that one of the things they're doing right, I think, with this, if the rumors are true, is that they are they're charging a number that makes sense given the fact that they're not printing or sending anything out. You know, that makes sense. It makes sense for me to go, oh yeah, and at 99 cents a week, if it's a subscription into perpetuity, I'll forget about it. Right. I mean, I won't even remember that I'm getting charged within a couple, couple weeks.
I do read the New York Times, because it's no longer New York Times Select. It's much more of the paper on the iPad, and I like it.
Yeah. I won't buy Here's the funny thing is now the magazines are starting to become available. Like I look at Wired and I go, oh yeah, I'm going to buy that.
It's really? So it's working for
you.
I
don't want to carry it around. I mean, I travel a lot. And so for me having all those magazines, like I have tons of magazines, I've got my books, I've got my audiobooks, all that stuff is all on my iPad, and I don't really want to carry anything else around.
The really interesting thing, though, is that you get kind of broken from long-term habits. It really doesn't even occur to me to buy a newspaper or to buy a magazine these days.
That's true.
That's kind of, and I haven't been broken of the habit of buying books, but I do know that Wired magazine is available. I do know that all these other magazines are available for the iPad, but there was a curiosity factor when the first couple issues came up, and I've never been tempted to download a large file for a kind of high amount of money that's going to contain a lot of content that I'm probably never going to get around to reading. So the most interesting thing to me, not even when I fly, because it used to be the last bastion of magazine purchasing for me was when I get through airport security, I go to the Hudson News, I buy a copy of People magazine, and I have something to read for like the 20 minutes at the start of the flight or the 20 minutes at the end of the flight, because you can get through a whole People magazine. If you really hunker down, you can get through a whole People magazine.
It takes work. It takes a manful effort.
You just got to care about learning about the world around you. And
and I find The Economist will last me. The Economist will last me like 3 or 4 legs. So I have ups and downs.
I'm flying to like San Francisco or Dallas. You're flying to.
Well, but I'm saying
like 12 hops, including.
All I care about is the first 10 minutes. It's the first 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm back to my iPad. I just need I need paper to.
Oh, you only use that because
I'm not allowed to turn my iPad on.
You're not allowed to turn it on.
I mean, that's the big thing. As soon as they let us as soon as I'm allowed to turn my iPad on, I'm done.
It's Angry Birds.
It's Angry Birds. It's all about the Angry Birds.
RIM continues to push its playbook, even though it doesn't really exist now. A video showing the playbook versus the iPad in terms of I'm not sure what
web performance.
Web performance.
They're showing that complex Java sites really load much faster on the playbook than on the latest up-to-date iPad, which is a good demo. It's exactly what people were sort of asking Adobe to do, that if you really want to show that Flash can really work well on a mobile device, just release a video showing it working great, and that you win the argument.
Well, there you go. Look how much faster that was.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not all. I did look at that pretty closely. It's not all down to the fact that it's a smaller screen or that it's pushing fewer pixels. That's not that at all.
No.
It does seem to be a fair apples to apples sort of test, but they still have yet to really demonstrate. What they've demonstrated now is that, okay, so it's going to be a little bit faster when you're browsing the web, which means that if it's really important that you get something loaded in 6 seconds instead of 8 seconds, that's a really big deal. But hey, what if I'm not actually using the web? What if I'm using apps or email or other things? It's much more than just a web browser, but still, it's really good that these companies are coming out of the gate early on to sort of demonstrate why they're getting into the market and why they think that they can do something that Apple isn't. I've been following the blog of a company called Notion Inc. that's making what looks to be a really nice Android tablet called the Atom. And they're still not going to be shipping for a little while yet, but every couple of weeks, every 3 weeks, they show, well, here's how we've got some of this calendar interface working. Here's the weather app, and here's how we've got that working. Here's the new logo design. And just by making sure they remind people that they're still working on this, they still maintain a certain amount of credibility.
Yeah. And I thought maybe I wasn't interested in a 7-inch tablet, but I have to say, after playing with a Samsung Galaxy Tab, I don't think 7 is as bad as Steve Jobs made it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. Now, my review is going to hit the Sun Times, I think, sometime this week. Thanksgiving might screw things up. It might be pushed until Monday just to get some more eyeballs on it. But yeah, it's probably the Galaxy Tab is probably my favorite. No, probably definitely my favorite Android device.
Yeah.
And you really get your head around the fact that you don't think of it as a competitor to the iPad. You think of it as its own thing.
Right. Right.
Early in the show, I was talking about the problems I had. No matter how hard I wanted to get the iPad working inside the car, it's just one of those things where it's too big, it's too glossy, it's just not going to fit. Whereas a 7-inch tablet, you can get that working very nicely in that space between the driver's side window and your steering wheel without interfering with anything. And you do get that sort of media-rich, user interface-rich experience for navigation and in-flight entertainment. So it definitely has a place to go.
Look at the fluidity of this animation here. This is HTML5 animation. You can really see the difference.
Yeah, and that's where it really hurts, considering that there's no greater advocate of HTML5 for using Canvas for everything than Steve Jobs and Apple. And ours seems to work a lot better than yours, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Some HTML5 updates in the new Safari, by the way. Some additional features. They are getting closer to making it a better, a real platform. I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's getting there.
Well, the other cool thing is they finally added search within the page in iOS 4.2.
Yeah,
it's the little things.
It's like, yes, please, thank you, thank God, praise Allah, praise Buddha.
We had all sorts of little hacks we would do with JavaScript and stuff to make that doable. It's just it should have been in there. Do not run to TJ Maxx to buy a 390. I like that double take I got from Alex.
I was like, TJ Maxx? How did this get into?
Do not run to TJ Maxx. They tweeted that they had iPads for $399,
and it turned out.
Well, they did. They apparently had 80 of them spread throughout their thousands of stores. And as far as we can tell, they just went out and bought them. They're not a reseller.
It was just to get a whole bunch of people.
Just to get, and you know what? It worked.
The technical term for that. It's called bait and switch.
Well, I'm sure they said something like, while supplies last, or.
All I need is one for that. Why bother with 80?
Yeah.
I guess you had to show that you had a good college try.
Yeah, 80. I know. That's true.
I mean, it's like, why just buy one? We got one. I guess you could say we have some.
Apparently, not many got them. Marshalls and TJ Maxx are the same store. An email from Steve Jobs when asked, could you match, according to 9 to 5 Mac, could you match the price that TJ Maxx offered? Why are you laughing?
I'm not entirely convinced that Apple considers TJ Maxx to be a competitor to Apple and the Apple Store. What's the difference between we're not selling pants for $11? Maybe we should start selling $11.
I've never heard an Apple employee say we'll match that price.
Exactly. No, those words don't.
Yeah, they're just like you should go over there and get it.
To be fair, when's the last time you saw a price differential of more than like $8?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So this is
we're the people who are excited about how is Walmart being able to sell this phone for $8 less than everybody else in the entire world? Well,
by the way, a headline including TJ Maxx and iPad just really doesn't look right.
Oh,
Josh writing this. Yeah, see that didn't look good, did it? Writing to sjobs@apple.com. Hey, Steve, if I walk into an Apple store and ask for you to match TJ Maxx's price, would you do it? Steve Jobs says, nope. Then he asks, is TJ Maxx even an authorized reseller? And nope. At least we know it's Steve because his response was nope. Do you think he has like an auto script? Nope.
And no, here's the thing is they're all different.
Nope.
We never see one that's like,
yep.
We don't see very many that are like it doesn't look like someone cut and paste them out.
No, I think he's doing it.
I wonder if there's just a bunch of mini Steves.
No, I think he's doing it. Although if you were going to be
they spend like 6 months in training.
If you were going to be a PR person trying to impersonate Steve, you'd make sure you said things like nope.
Yep.
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 Yep. Nope. He's doing this. He's doing the Clint Eastwood.
He's like a laconic ranch hand.
Nope. Yeah. Yeah, not gonna do it. According to AC Nielsen, this is the stupid story of the week, which conducted a survey in October to see which tech products American kids want through the beginning of next year. Just, what do you think? 17 items on that list.
Number 1, a Camaro that shoots fire.
Yeah.
Number 2, a PlayStation 8.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah. So they talked to kids from the ages of 6 to 12. Number 1, an iPad. Actually, that is kind of maybe a surprise for the kids that age, an iPad. A computer and iPod Touch tying for second. with 29% saying they wanted those. 31% said they wanted an iPad. Nintendo DS in the fourth place. That's got to scare Nintendo. 25% of kids. And this is their market for the DS. PlayStation 3, any non-iPhone smartphone, and a mobile phone all tied for fifth place. The Apple iPhone, a television, and as yet unreleased Nintendo 3DS rounding out the top 10, each with 20%. An e-reader, the least popular gift of the year, racking 17 out of 17 choices.
And that should scare Amazon.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of Kindle books for my iPad.
So this was a little constrained. I guess they gave him a list of devices and then said, "What do you want most?"
Well, I know that our babysitter, she was talking about it. She was asking what, if that's the iPad and everything else, because I guess her nephew wants to buy one,
right.
or he wants one for Christmas. And then when we told her how much it was, she was excited. But I know my the big thing I'm having trouble with is deciding how much my son's allowed to use his iPad, because it's really a.
He has his own?
Well, he has my old one because the 3G came out and I got.
You don't need to make up any excuses here.
No,
you're among friends, Alex.
It's my job.
We understand. You don't need to say that here.
My older son, I just bought him one. But anyway, so but I'm waiting for him to destroy it. He hasn't destroyed it yet. He dropped it last night. It hurts. But
you need. This is the case.
I do. I need to get that case. I looked at that case and I was like, see, here it is. I already bought the stand while we were sitting there.
This is from Incipio. Well, you know what? Tell you what.
Incipio.
Let me just peel this right off of here and give it to you.
Oh, Leo.
It's good for a kid because it's lime green.
Can I put that one on? We'll test it like the like the Woogie.
So it's got the silicone rubber, but then it's got the. I like this. They do them for Incipio does them for iPhones too, kind of like a plastic hard shell.
No, it needs it because the only thing
that's where the corners.
Here's the only thing that I'd want though is that I need something to flap on the front.
It doesn't have a flap on the front.
I need the flap on the front.
Well,
I'll try it though.
I don't know if you need a flap on the front.
Well, the thing is that he stands on it.
You need more than a flap if he's going to stand on it.
I looked over. I was watching the Steeler game. I looked over, and he's standing on the iPad. I said, it's not going to work much longer if you keep on doing that.
Standing on it. I wonder what that was all about.
I don't know.
Dance Dance Revolution?
He's he's not. No, fortunately, he wasn't stomping on it. He was standing on it. I don't know what.
It makes me just this much higher.
Yeah, I think he thought it was cool.
They asked 13-year-old kids what they wanted. Number one for 13 and up. A Mac or PC, a computer, then a television, then a smartphone, not an iPhone, then an iPad, a Blu-ray player, an e-reader. E-reader bigger with the older kids. The Nintendo Wii ranked 7th among teens. That's not good. Only 15% wanted a Wii. That's probably because they all had one already.
Yeah, probably.
Then the iPhone, then the PlayStation 3 with 13%. The Sony PlayStation Portable, least desired among teenagers, number 17. Well, no, I didn't even know they still made that.
I think I have one around somewhere.
Now, interesting, because Duracell does the same thing. The Duracell Toy Report, according to that survey, 40% of the kids between the ages of 5 and 16 want, 40%, almost half, want an iPhone 4, iPod Touch, or iPad. Apple is in a good position for the holidays.
It's a good gaming platform. You guys were talking about that last night on Twitter, or was it? Or
it's a great gaming platform. I think that's what I do mostly with it.
I think I do. I think actually, if you look at minute for minute,
and you know what I do mostly with the iPhone is take pictures because it's got a decent camera. I love Instagram and food spotting, and then I use the iPad for gaming, and then I use the MacBook Air to keep track of all my other devices. Woz says, you misquoted me. I didn't say Android was better. I never say Android is better than the iPhone. What are you talking about? He says, almost every app I have is better. Here, let's just play a little. Can never go wrong with the Woz.
Yeah, I saw a lot of headlines all over that, are not something that I say. Right. And that happens occasionally. But I gave the reporter maybe an hour and a half. And I spent about 20 minutes talking about my vision of how comfortable it is to speak commands to an iPhone. And I gave him many examples. I mean, I pulled out my iPhone. I spoke into several different apps to show the sort of things that are really changing my life. At the end of 20 minutes, I said, well, there's, the one thing I can't do that you can do on Android phones is you can say navigate to Joe's Diner or something. Right. And they don't. And then I pointed out that Apple had purchased Siri, and they had purchased a mapping company, so it's likely to expect it in the iPhone. That's a long, pointing out one thing that the Android does. That's that interpretation. I've never said anything like that to anyone.
He's backpedaling fast. I guess it wouldn't really do for the founder of Apple Computers to say Android's better.
You see the rumors that Apple might be acquiring Nuance?
Yeah, that's that's Steve. That's Woz going being either misquoted or misspeaking. I think.
Oh, that was where the speculation.
Yeah.
No, that according to a piece on Engadget, because I think Woz also spoke directly to Engadget as well. He was talking about an app for the iPhone that he likes a lot. That Engadget seems to think that he confused Nuance with the maker of that other iPhone app,
with Siri.
And a company that makes. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, right. Exactly. Which was also acquired, supposedly, according to Engadget. I hadn't heard about it, but Engadget says that is the company that had been acquired by.
All I
Apple.
gotta say is that would be awesome.
Yeah, $5 billion valuation. Apple could afford them, but I don't understand why they would buy them.
Why?
Well,
I'll tell you why. No, I use Dragon, so I use Dragon every day.
Yeah.
So and I can tell you with an absolute assuredness that there is nobody with a voice recognition library that is anywhere in the ballpark of what Nuance has.
I agree.
You know, they've been doing this for 20 years. They do it better than anyone else. And the thing is that, and when you talk about voice activation, if you want to own the voice activation market, you buy them. You know, and if Apple wanted to make all of their apps and all the other stuff be like real voice activation and incorporate it into their into their phones and Macs and Apple TVs and everything else, they would buy Nuance. It would be, Nuance would make less money because it was not licensing to lots of people or whatever, and who cares? I mean, it would be on the if we had Nuance technology embedded on the iPhone, oh my gosh.
Well, that's the only reason why they would actually do it.
Yeah.
If they acquired it, and if you could definitely see the 45-minute demonstration of how voice enabled iOS 5.0 is on the iPhone and on the iPad, but mostly on the iPhone. But one of the most disappointing things of the past 10 or 15 years of Apple history is that they just don't seem to really care about voice control. They care about it as an assistive technology, and it's very well supported there. But I've always thought that if there's a big opportunity for one crazy millionaire to do a $40 million startup that becomes a $500 million company, it's going to be the first company that really does a voice-controlled operating system that is just absolutely and immediately compelling to the average user. Well, I think it's there. I think it can happen, but I just don't think anybody's really trying.
I think the issue, though, is that I desperately want a full Dragon capability on my iPad, because that's where I don't want to type big long verbiages of information. I want to be able to type, because anything if someone gets an email from me that's longer than about 6 lines, it means that it's probably very verbose and has very weird typos that look like whole words, because I was, I just flick on my mic and I start talking, and because I don't, so, I don't want it for voice activation or voice control. I want to be able to put in, write whole articles on my iPad, and I don't really look at being able to do that right now without a keyboard.
Well, I'm totally the opposite there. I mean, if you want to replace a keyboard and a mouse, okay, that's fine, but that's boring. What I really want to be able to do is to walk past my living room and with my coat, my hat, my car keys in my hand, and say, "Computer, has there been any interesting emails since the last time I checked?" Right. And then being able to parse that and say, well, that means that there is a list of people that he's actually interested in. I'm going to search over the past 8 minutes, because that was the last time he sat down at the computer and actively asked for new mail. There was one email from an editor, so I will tell him, yes, there was an email from 10 minutes ago from your editor at the Sun-Times. The subject line is this. And things like computer schedule breakfast tomorrow with Teresa at Denzano in Coolidge Corner, and for it to do just the simple Newton text recognition technology and simply say, okay, I can extract enough information from that one simple sentence to know how I should schedule that. That's the sort of thing I'm looking for. There needs to be a really new hands-off interface where I don't have to do this or
Yeah, I know that
Blumenschanz sort of moves in order to control my computer.
Right. I mean, I know that for me, what I want to be able to do is work out. Like when I'm working out on, I want to be able to watch the video, like I do P90X or whatever, and so I want to watch the video, and I want to, when it says, write down how many reps and at what weight, I want it to say, weight, and I go 45, reps, 14, or whatever, and then keep on going, and that's actually pretty easy. But the problem is right now is there's just no way to embed that well into, into my iPad or iPhone stuff, and so I think that is, I think that would make a big difference. I think that $5 billion for Apple to buy Nuance would be a bargain. I mean, for what they could do with it. That's the thing. Leo doesn't look happy. What happened, Leo?
I thought I ordered the mini DisplayPort 2 S-Video adapter, but I got the mini DisplayPort 2 VGA adapter instead.
It's not as good.
Not what I want.
God damn it. Give me a name. Give me a name. He'll be dead.
They have a mini
in 5
DisplayPort.
hours.
They have a mini DisplayPort to S-Video.
S-Video.
Oh, I need that.
I know. That's what I needed too. Oh well.
I didn't even know it existed.
I didn't even know. But I do have the Ethernet adapter for the Air. So let me show you, and then we're going to get our picks of the week. This is the holiday gift of the year. Get your credit card out.
Wow.
Are you ready? Get your credit card out. This is from the Mike Gadget blog, MikeGadget.com.
Oh, I'm
MIC,
scared.
the
I'm
MIC
not listening.
store.
No.
It's a phenomenal, the Steve Jobs action figure. First of all, take a look at the body with the little black turtleneck, the skinny butt blue jeans. Just looks so much like him. The giant Steve Jobs head, the gray hair.
Is it a bobblehead?
The beer.
That's what it needs to be, a bobblehead.
No, it doesn't bobble.
But the sculpting is incredible.
Incredible detail. Look at this. Look at the jeans. Realistic. And he's standing on an Apple logo. Well, get ready. That could be a problem. He's holding an iPhone 4. Not detachable, not usable. But you can disassemble the hand. I don't think you'd want to.
You can't replace the battery on that one either.
And buy it
So it's
quickly
accurate
before
in every
Apple
way.
realizes that Apple sees the show and says, hey, you're using our logo and our iPhone, and you're fired.
Look, he can actually hold an iPhone 4.
Wow. We need to get
Look
that
at the detail.
We need
on
to get that for
face.
iJustine.
Doesn't that look just like him? Everything beautiful, handmade.
It's sold out.
The glasses.
Wow,
go
it's
up
sold
on
out.
his
$80
head.
each for. He made $240,000.
Hold on. Slow down. There's even a white erasable marker speech balloon.
Oh my gosh.
That you can attach to a small hole on the backside of the head
I'm in the wrong business.
so that he can say one more thing. Look at that. Oh, now how much would you pay?
Or, yup.
Yep. Nope. Extraordinary,
problem.
awesome, magical, unbelievable, cool. We heart our users. Every phone has weak spots. Avoid holding it like this. There is no antenna gate. If you want porn, get Android. One more thing. These are just some suggestions. Okay, that's the good news. They did, in fact, offer it for $79.99 with free shipping. 3 to 4 weeks, allow 3 to 4 weeks. Due to overwhelming demand, they can only guarantee for the first 200 orders. Oh, cross that out. 300 sets of phenomenal figures, totally sold out. Oop, cross that out. Due to overwhelming demand, we're planning a second batch of production. More details will be announced in mid-December. Oh, cross that out. Finally, Apple has informed us that this phenomenal SG action figure is not consented to the use of Apple's copyrights and trademarks, and therefore they request us to immediately cease the
All they had to
marketing
do is get rid of
sale.
the I guess all they had to do is get rid of that logo on the bottom.
Yeah, I think the logo, because Steve's a public figure. I think
You use him, I think.
you can use him. You might not. I don't know. It's the logo. They should just pull the logo right off.
Yeah,
Isn't that
it's
awesome?
That's also because it wasn't it wasn't one of these half-assed things. It was just done so exceptionally well, and you just wish that sometimes you just see where, oh, that was good luck. You almost had a really huge success on your hands, but fortunately you did all the right mistakes to make sure that it would not last.
Now
It's
the
like-
letter
it's
they
'cause-
got.
Well, it's just obvious.
Oh, likeness.
Don't
He's
use
doing
the
likeness.
anybody would say, okay, well, there are ways that we absolutely cannot possibly legally defend this. That would be the logo and the use of the actual iPhone. But all we got to do is make a trivial change to the base, a trivial change to the thing he's holding, and not only it would. Too bad.
Now,
'Cause
alas-
I'm angry. I'm angry because I want one and I can't have one now.
Yeah, they look fantastic. I would love to have that on the set. They say that the lawyers said it's the unauthorized use of Steve's likeness. California Civil Code Section 3344. Any lawyers in the audience want to help me with this? I thought you could do anything you want with public figures.
And I don't think you can when it comes to selling a product. I think that's the
You
issue.
can't sell a product.
Yeah, I think that's
But
the
see,
issue.
but it's oftentimes what the like action figure manufacturers will do is call it, high-tech bigwig.
Right.
And you just have to say that, no, that's not Steve Jobs. Oh, well, I suppose maybe there's some sort of a likeness, but I'm not sure if you could, I'm not sure how many years it would take you in court to prove that we had the intention of making this look like Steve Jobs, but.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
that one would be pretty, wow. It's really good.
It looks just like Steve. There's no way that's a fake. I mean, that's somebody. That's an unnamed figure.
Okay, well, true.
Any judge is going to look at that.
I'll say, usually what I like action figures. I don't buy them as much. When I was in my 20s, just to collect them, but then I stopped. But I still read about them. I'm really fascinated by how well these things are put together, and oftentimes what they will do if they want to do something like that. If you really want to do a J-Lo action figure, but you don't want to pay for the license, and you're just going to make about 1,000 of them, what you do is you simply find someone who looks a lot like J-Lo, take pictures of
this is who it was. Yeah.
pay her a $500 modeling fee where it's explicitly stated that we want to do an action figure based on your likeness. Right. And everybody knows that you're really doing a J-Lo action figure, but the thing is, you have all this paperwork and you've done all this diligence to prove that, oh, well, no, I mean, I suppose we called her Latina celebrity, but goodness gracious, if you think that she's the only celebrity out there,
it's Latina
that's a
celebrity
racist
doll. Now,
the width of the behind, that's purely coincidental. We had to fill out the mold somehow, and we decided to give
it's
her
extra plastic. Yeah.
I just want to know. I want to know who the manufacturers of the turtleneck. That's what I want to know. The infamous turtleneck.
I feel sad because it was that for the holidays, or perhaps the Apple One computer that they sold at Christie's. But it went on sale. This is from the BBC, guaranteed. Wait a minute. Before I give you the final results of the Christie auction, yes, Andy Ihnatko.
I was going to say, it got sold. Maybe someone bought it for you, and maybe there's going to be a very special surprise.
I didn't think of that. It could be a gift.
Maybe each and every one of your listeners decided to chip in. We passed around the hat.
I think more than $1 each. Let's see.
I think Andy just flicked off a couple bills.
Where did this come? Do we know where this Apple One came from?
I got that much on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see how much.
And that's just walking around money for Andy.
The Apple One auction at Christie's Auction House.
Apple One for a successful bidder at the end of the sale. So Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, would be delighted to autograph Apple One for the successful bidder.
They said Steve will autograph it. I wonder if it's Steve's. Look at the bids coming in. 159,000 US dollars, 117,000 euros.
100,000. Anyone else know? It's with me at 100,000. 100,010. The step of 110,000 pounds.
Look at the nerds. You don't see these guys at Christie's that often.
Oh my God! What a Cosby sweater on that guy in the second row.
How are you done? Selling for 110,000 pounds.
110,000 pounds. That's about $174,000. Woz was there.
And then the Apple One sold, and it really was an important step. I look back at that machine. I didn't really feel that way even when I designed it. But I take a look at it and say, oh my gosh, the whole formula was actually exposed and put out there for the world.
Wow, this is a first. We had two Wozniaks in this particular show. Two Wozniak clips. So that's...
Suppose the paperwork that came with it shows that originally, at least back in the 70s, belonged to, I can't remember, I believe either computer store owner or some sort of a manufacturer who had bought it to sort of scope it out, which is why it came with that letter from Steve Jobs. So that's what the docket says in the paperwork that comes in. One of the great things about it is that it is so exhaustively complete. You get all the paperwork that came with it. You get the interfaces with it. You get all the manuals, the box that originally shipped in, the signed letter from Steve Jobs. Also, the Christie's listing points out that it came from the address of the garage belonging to, I believe, Steve's mom and dad.
Wow.
Does it run? Does it run? That's what I want.
Exactly. Someone should try to boot it up and see if you can get Apple Panic running on it. Oh, no, that requires floating point basic, but I bet you can get Brick out.
Hey, let's take a break. We're going to come back with our picks of the week in just a second. Andy Ihnatko, Alex, Lindsay, and I are here to talk Macintosh. Before we do that, though, I'd like to talk Audible. Audible.com.
I'm so addicted.
I just can't stop it. I just bought, I was saying this on Windows Weekly. I bought $100 worth of Audible books. Now, I have a 2-book-a-month subscription, and still, I just bought $100 worth of books last night. I bought the. I couldn't wait for the Keith Richards autobiography. I had to have that. And then I was running to the end of Dark Tower 4, The Wastelands, and I needed Dark Tower 5. I couldn't wait until I renew, so I had to get that. And then the new Steve Martin novel came out today, and I had to get that. And well, by the time I was done,
now, do you have the problem that you walk into Starbucks and they're telling your order and you're kind of like half listening to them because you got one ear in? You got one ear in, and you're listening to some book and you're going, yeah,
pretty soon,
$4.95 is fine.
Next to the sign that says no cell phones, they're going to say no Audible. Because I can't stop. I cannot stop myself. Audible.com/MacBreak. This is how you get your first book free. You go there, you sign up for the gold account. That's a book a month. You can see that's not enough for me. I have the 2-book-a-month account, but that's not even 0 credits, folks. I had to go shopping because, there's just this is better than candy. This is better. Look at Kenneth Branagh reading Joseph Conrad's The Art of Darkness. That's kind of cool.
Wow.
So
that would be great.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
They have classics. They have business and fiction and nonfiction. They have all sorts of incredible stuff. Yes, that new Steve Martin just came out. The new Metropolis Cascadia is now out. That's a Audible exclusive. You can't get it anywhere else. I am a huge fan of Audible. Andy, have you listened to the Keith Richards yet?
I have not listened to Keith Richards yet. First, I need to know, is Keith narrating it?
No.
Festering all over the
No, I think that they decided that they would be better not to have.
It is a 12-hour-long audiobook. He's never been sober that long in his life.
Yes, exactly. And
you can't focus that quite.
It's actually 16 hours long. I can't wait. It's on my list. It's my next listen, and then I've got An Object of Beauty, the new Steve Martin book. I'm gonna listen to that because I'm interviewing Steve on the radio show. I said, well, we'll talk about the book. He says, your audience doesn't care about my book. But then he said,
so he's calling you all illiterate. That's
isn't that nice? Your audience. But he did. We were doing a FaceTime because he's going to use FaceTime, and he did say, but can you see the book if I hold it up? And I said, yes, I can see it just fine. Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's your audience, though. He listens.
He has 3 iPads.
Right.
But one of the things he says, but I don't want to talk about the book. I got questions about Twitter, and I want you to help me figure out how to use this Droid X. So,
wow,
yeah, that'll be fun.
Geeky.
That's gonna be on the radio show on Sunday, 12:30 Pacific, 3:30
All I need
Eastern.
is this one iPad.
Andy, what do you?
iPad and the keyboard dock, and that's all I need.
All I need. And then, do you have an Audible book you've been listening to lately that you want?
Oh yeah, well I haven't done a pick in like 3 weeks, which means I've got like 4 books lined up. The pick this week is a really good book called "The War for Late Night" by Bill Carter. Bill Carter did this wonderful book about 10 or 15 years ago when Letterman lost the Tonight Show called The Late Shift, where after the fact, he interviewed every executive. He interviewed everybody on both staffs of the Leno Show and the Letterman Show, getting all the behind the scenes, not the dirt, but the journalism on how it happened that NBC first decided that they wanted Leno, and then decided that they wanted to push Carson out, and what was going on behind the scenes to make all that sort of stuff happen. And so this is sort of a sequel to that. This is all about the Michigas last year.
This is the Conan story.
This is about the Conan versus Leno story. And as usual, he really interviews everybody. He talks to Jay Leno. He talks to Jerry Seinfeld. He talks to Conan staffers. He talks to Letterman's people. And so almost every detail of this is so carefully worked out. And it's not a one-sided thing either. It's not all about, Conan is the hero and here's how Leno kind of screwed him over and had NBC's help in screwing people over. It really does demonstrate that when a whole bunch of small but bad decisions snowball together, it leads to inevitable consequences of awfulness 2 or 3 or 4 years later. And so this is all about how Leno felt as though he was being pushed out, what NBC felt that they had to do in order to keep their late night franchise running, what David Letterman and Jimmy Kimmel were doing just on the sidelines, just delighted beyond all get out to be watching this happen in the opposite time slots. How Conan wound up going to TBS, and then afterward, an interesting post-mortem in which no one looks particularly between NBC, Conan, and Leno. Nobody looks particularly good. No one looks particularly bad. It just looks like here's what's going on in television today, and here's how this had to happen. And especially interesting is the very, very end, where they're just talking about what this all means. And I love these books that kind of get myself a little bit turned around from how I thought I was going to feel about something. One of the people who really comes out looking great is Lorne Michaels, because he's sort of a voice of reason, or at least the way that Bill Carter has been interviewing him and the way that he was offering perspective on things. And he told Carter a story from the time when he decided to quit being the producer of Saturday Night Live. And he tells the story about how, went to the office of like the big boss at NBC, and he said very sweetly but very definitively, Lorne, let me tell you what's going to happen. If you leave, the show is going to get a little bit worse next season, then a little bit worse the season after that. And the show's going to start losing viewers because the people who are your fans or your style of comedy are going to notice the difference, but we're really not going to care. And after 5 years, enough people are going to quit watching the show that we're going to cancel it. And the show's not going to be here, but we will. And here's the reason why. All that we care about is that a show is produced called Saturday Night Live, that it's the proper length, that it gets advertisers, and it comes to air at 11:30 p.m. The fact that you're neurotic about putting on a good show, we're willing to take advantage of that, but we really don't care about that. And that really comes down to the heart of all of these decisions and how everything happened. Why Leno decided to go along with being fired, why he decided to get the show back when he had the opportunity, why NBC offered the contract to Conan, and why it took it back when it realized that they were in this terrible circumstance where they could. I won't tell the whole story, but one of the most incredible, the one missing piece of the puzzle that really clarified the entire situation for me was the knowledge that Conan's lawyers, when they negotiated his Tonight Show contract, did not get that one thing that every late night host, including Letterman, has in their contract: specificity that their show airs immediately after the 11 o'clock news. Conan's contract did not have that, which meant that when NBC was faced with the idea of, we have to pay Leno, not only do we have to pay Leno $80 million if we yank him, we are contractually obligated to keep him on the air for 2 years. Whereas with Conan, we can bump him to 1205 without breaking his contract. If he decides to quit, we just have to pay him off $40 million, and that's just the way that's going to have to turn out. Anyway, it's really, it was really a great read from start to finish. It was also cool because I actually read this. I sampled the audiobook, but I read it from cover to cover on my iPad. But it was funny because the book actually was released while I was in LA, and the hotel I was staying at was literally the next building over from the world headquarters of NBC Universal. So every morning when I would leave the hotel to go get the metro to go to downtown LA, it was fun to look up and say, yep, there was an idiot in that office and an idiot in that office and a megalomaniac in that office up there. And
see, you know what, I think that what we're seeing here is the new version of Cliff Notes. You know, I think that Andy ought to have a new version where it's the Andy version. I would like to listen to the Andy versions of all of these books.
At least have an Andy commentary,
like an Andy summary. But Andy, I mean, I'm just telling you, if you did a half-hour summry of the whole book. There's these of Mice and Men, just tell us the story in Andy version, and the thing is that you have a following of high school students that are millions, because it's much more interesting.
And they're like farmers, and one's like big and dumb, and I guess the small one's kind of dumb too, but not as dumb as the other one. Anyway, so they go to this farm, and the dumb one, not the big one, no, I'm sorry, not the small one. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that the dumb ones, they came to the farm first. Yeah,
I blame you for this, Alex.
You would have saved me. You would have saved me an enormous amount of pain in high school, because I could have just listened to the Andy. Because the thing is that Andy pulls out all the most. He pulls out important parts, and those are the parts that I'm going to get tested on.
Who needs Cliff Notes? We've got Ihnatko Notes.
Ihnatko Notes.
It would not work well, because there'd be like the Andy Ihnatko notes on Ethan Frome. It's a piece of crap. It's a total piece of crap. Just take the D and move on to the next book.
Just don't get on the sled. I can't even believe. Just don't get on the sled.
Audible.com/MacBreak. It plays on the iPhone, the iPod, the
That's
Zoom.
right. I'm calling you out, Wharton.
Anything you got, it plays on. Audible.com/MacBreak. Your first book is free. You're going to love it. Now, let's get our picks of the week, and we will start with Alex Lindsay.
I have a pick. I'm surprised we haven't talked about. I'm in the IRC.
Doing?
I'm in the IRC.
Wow.
And on my iPad.
Sure.
And I'm using Colloquy. I don't know how to say it, but I love it.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is we haven't made this a pick.
No.
So
I mean, I use it. I know about it, but we haven't picked it. No.
It is great. It's better than the app version.
Oh yeah.
And so I have what's great. One of the things that I really like about it is that we just opened an IRC for the Pixel Core internally, for members. And
IRC is
we're
great.
testing it. So if you're a Pixel Core member and you haven't heard about it yet, we're testing it. It's coming soon. So, but what's great is I can have all these different rooms, and I can have different, completely different IRCs all down one side, and then I can see what's going on, and it's just it's really fluid. Anyway, because the IRC implementations generally are a little rough, and they make it feel very old-fashioned. And anyway, it's
this is a very nice one. It's
really
free,
well
isn't it?
implemented.
I think it's free.
It's free. I don't know if it's like if it isn't, it's like 99 cents or something like that, and it's worth every penny. So that's my pick for the week, and I've been using it part of it is we've been testing. So I've been using it for the last week and a half, and what I'm doing is really just sitting. I just set it up next to my computer while I'm working, and we have the IRC of the folks that we're testing, or I can switch to Twit if nothing's going on there, and I just kind of look over every once in a while, and it's good stuff. And
IRC tells me it's $1.99.
Yeah,
and
it's worth it.
Yep.
Yeah, and
there's a Mac version as well. Although you're right, I like XChat Aqua on the Mac. That's what I use on the Mac for IRC.
But this one is so fluid.
There's nothing as good as Colloquy on the iPad.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
So anyway,
good choice. That's Alex Lindsay's pick. Let's see what Andy Ihnatko has in store for us. Hello, Andrew.
Hello. This is a callback to the AirPrint we're talking about with 4.2. People are disappointed that you can't just simply print to whatever network printer you already have. And I really think that the AirPrint feature is going to work. It's only going to really deliver when I get what I really want out of it, which is I can walk into any Kinko's or any FedEx office when I'm in town on anything and print directly from my iPad. So we don't have that yet, but we do have a really good solution from a company called Ecamm called Printopia. It's ecam.com. And it's what it is. It's a print. It's not a set of modifications to your Mac. What it is just a standard application you run on any app that's on your network. That has access to a printer, and it simply acts as a virtual printer and hosts a number of virtual printers on your network that any other machine on the network can then access and print to,
including a print to Mac, which I really like.
Exactly. Yeah. It has a couple of extra features, but the big deal is that it will also work with AirPrint. So on a basic level, you can do things like access your existing like 3 or 4 year old laser printer that's just on the network. You download this $10 application, just launch it, and in about 3 mouse clicks, you've got it working with any iPhone or iPad that's on your network. But the really cool thing is that it can make these fake printers that do interesting things. One of them is that you can it'll have a feature where instead of actually printing the document, it will just simply turn the print job into a JPEG or a PDF and just simply put it on your Mac. So that gives you a print to PDF function that's directly from your iPad or directly from your iPhone. Right. Already that's pretty cool. But another feature it has, another one of these fake printers is print to Dropbox, and it's just a simple trick where it's no different from the print to PDF function. But what it does is it will then copy that PDF file directly into your Dropbox. So it makes it really, really easy to essentially keep permanent copies of anything that you've got or anything that you're browsing or anything that you're reading on your iPad, and just simply a way to simply divert that into a PDF file that you can then simply download from Dropbox. So if someone has sent you like an email confirmation of directions on how to get to the conference center, there are ways that you can sort of keep it from being deleted from your iPad. But if you really want to be safe about it, really want to get the full meat of that email, you can just tap the icon in the in the Mail app, select print to Dropbox as a feature, and then will just simply be copied into the Dropbox where you can then download it directly. Now, the limitation is that this only works with local network printers and only with Macs that are actually running this software on it. So it's not as though you can be in your hotel, print an email to a PDF and then download it. So it'll only work inside your office or inside your house. But already you work from a feature, an AirPrint feature that right now is just for people who happen to have the right kind of printer, and now it turns into an actually useful feature. It's not 100% of where it should be, but $10 is a small amount of money to pay to actually get the printing feature working without having to buy $100 to $500 new printer.
Yeah, it's $10 for this. You can try it free for a week.
Exactly. 7-day free demo. I downloaded it yesterday, and it really is 3 mouse clicks, and it's done. I was anticipating that it would be doing some modifications to my system library, my library to get this working. But nope, it's just an application. If you stop it, if you quit the application, the features stops working and stops serving that features to the rest of the network. So couldn't be easier.
Yeah, I've been using it. I love the print to PDF. I think that's so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Printopia actually was going to be my pick too. So
now he's scrambling.
No, I'm not scrambling.
He's good. He's good with Audibles.
So we're done. How about that? There's the Audible. We're done. Andy and I both picked that one. Actually, I was interested. I don't know if you tried it. The Hacktivator, which is free, which basically gives you those 3 files that Apple left out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is long for this world.
That makes me a little nervous, obviously.
Well, because it's not as though it's just a standard Unix configuration file, which anybody can simply cut and paste in. Supposedly, it is copyrighted stuff from Apple, and so I haven't looked inside those files myself, but I'm told by somebody that that's not going to grab that while you can. That's not going to last long.
Well, in that case, let me download that right now, and this is at netcomputing.com.
Just to sap the bandwidth of that server and maybe prevent somebody else from downloading it.
That's exactly right.
Committing an awful crime of copyright.
It's based on the Tauntaun Smith hack. I just like the name, the Tauntaun Smith hack. And you do this to your Mac, and then is this not though what the AirPrint was supposed to be, but they took it out?
Yeah, it was up until. I think up until last month, I think it was part of the developer build. I don't know why they took it out, but they took it out.
You'll find out.
Exactly.
Just install it and find out.
Keep running, and then you'll find out that, that's interesting. My mouse only goes left and right.
Ooh, there is a reason.
Still a small price to pay.
Andy Ihnatko writes for the Chicago Sun-Times. He also lives on the planet Hoth. But you can reach him via the internet at www.cwob.com. Pay no attention to the rebel in the picture. Is it a little chilly on Hoth?
You know what they say? 23 hours of boredom, 18 minutes worth of pure mortal terror.
That's the story of Hoth. Alex Lindsay is the guy at the Pixel Core. Now, they're going to do maybe a live stream at pixelcore.com.
We're going to try
live-stream.
Yeah, and so if you go, and definitely you can check out our website. Also follow Pixel Core. It's CORPS at the end. Pixel Core on Twitter or me on Twitter or both, and we'll post it when we're on live. And we're going to try to shoot from Kelly Herron's all-in-one truck, his camera truck. We're going to be dragging a convertible behind it and running a jib around it and shooting some plates. And because it's our own project, we can shoot behind the scenes and stream it.
That's great.
And so we're going to try to hook up 2 little HV40s so that you get a couple extra angles and the camera angle. And we're going to try to mix it through this little mixer and then pump it on a live view and out. And so it's all experiment. We don't know if it's going to work yet, but we'll post it if it does.
Always pushing the envelope. And that's what we love about the Pixel Core. Find out more at pixelcore.com. Follow at Pixel Core or at Alex Lindsay for the announcement.
Yes.
We want to remind you, if you want to pick a best of for our holiday special, you can go to twit.tv/best of. And anything that we did in the last year, I'm sure you can come up with some funny moments.
Best
well, that's why that's why we ask our audience to do it, because I can never remember anything that happened.
It's one long mush.
Yeah.
I thought we did a really lovely tribute when Princess Di passed away so unexpectedly. It was heartfelt. It expressed the mood of the people, and I think it started the healing process going. I think if we're remembered for one show, it would be that one.
I couldn't agree more. Of course, Now I'm going to get a lot of votes for that. And I do believe we lost that tape.
Awesome. That means we're going to have to do it now. Awesome.
The Princess Di tribute. Next on MacBreak Weekly. We do MacBreak Weekly.
You wear a candle in the wind. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
You wear England's rose. Don't deny it. You're so humble. Anyway, I'm sorry. You're trying to end the show, and I'm trying to.
No, I'm not. I don't want to ever end the show. As evidenced by its extraordinary length the last few weeks. If you want to watch us do this live, it is a bit of a marathon.
Take a bathroom break before, though.
Yeah, bring a
I like to call it the safety dance.
Yeah. Just go to live.twit.tv, and we do this thing 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 UTC at live.twit.tv every Tuesday. I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks for joining us. Now get back to work. Break time's over. All right, I'm going to let you go, Mr. Hoff.
Yep. You're on to the fourth show of the day, I'm sure.
Enjoy your Tauntaun.
Well,
that's what you have for Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Well, I know that what happens on Hoth stays on Hoth, but there's things you don't do on
Tauntaun entrails for Thanksgiving this year.